Hello and welcome to Brentwood Farm. Well guys, it is that time of year when we're starting to look forward to the growing season and the cut flower season. And the weather's been so mild that, as you can see here in the narcissus bed, daffodil bed, actually we've already got loads of daffs coming up in this one and the one over there. However, there is one major problem, and that's this: 1,000 tulips that I haven't even planted. Honestly, tulips were not even in my plan for this year because I find them annoying. Despite them being a bulb, most people only use them as an annual, so you put them in, all that work, and then you harvest them with the bulb, sometimes without the bulb other times, and then they're gone and you have to buy more in for the next year. However, these were on sale. They're a mixed batch on sale and the bulbs were 3 pence. That's 3p each. And I couldn't turn it down. But now I have the issue in that it's mid-January, they're not even in the ground yet, and I have not a clue what I'm going to do. And I think it's because I've kind of got in my mindset, I've always had my mindset that this area would be for the daffs either side of here, and I hadn't ever factored in putting another bed in. I also don't have any wood at the moment. I don't really want to spend any money at the moment. But I also really don't want the tulips going into the main flower farm because they're just such a heavy duty crop, quick, and they're going to take up a lot of space, lots of rotation. I prefer them to be out in this area. So I've really got to kind of come up with a solution. So I think I'm going to have a little wander around the farm and see if there's anything random or ramshackle that I can find that might work. So the farm's been in my family for over 100 years, which means there's often secretive finds just stuffed into random places. And around the back here I found this huge tyre, and I think there must have once been a tractor shed. I vaguely recall there being the sheep dip and the sheep run over there when I was a child. So I'm going to roll this tyre out and we're going to see if we can use this as a raised bed. I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of raised beds in tyres, but I also want to use what I've got on the farm, and so that I don't have to spend any money. I should say at this point it's really important that you don't grow vegetables in them because these tyres are full of nasties that will leach into the soil. I think we'll get away with cut tulips, especially as we'll be just pulling the bulb and then selling them in bouquets, but I wouldn't grow food in them just because, as I say, there's nasties in the tyre themselves which leach into the soil and possibly then get into the plant. I'm not happy with them just side by side like that, however, so I'm going to get another tyre and then I'm just going to kind of sort out an arrangement I'm fairly happy with. I mean, there's only so many configurations you can have 3 tyres in, but I think this is okay. We've got the gate going that way, and we'll have the trees here, and then we've got the biggest one at the back, and then this slightly smaller one, and then the tiny one at the front. And I think once they're filled, and the tulips are all coming up, they'll look nice, and also I can disguise the edges perhaps a little bit by letting the grass go a bit longer, or possibly putting in some other flowering plants around the base. I don't love it, but I've got to make do. I'm going to go and get the tulips. We've also got a vast number of Christmas trees here to feed the goats. Again, a friend put a notice on Nextdoor app and they told to bring trees to me, and they brought loads, which is great. It's at times like this where I really wish I had a tractor with a bucket or a Manitou, because I need to fill up those tyres, but the compost heap is over there, and over here is a 3-year-old pile of cow muck. So I think I'm going to use cow muck in the bottom because it's slightly closer, and then I'll just have to suck it up and do some hard work and barrow across some mushroom compost. I'm back. I forgot that Jock is terrified of wheelbarrows. Whenever I use one, I have to put him in his dog crate, otherwise he runs. Well, the cow manure is actually more rotted down than I thought, so I'm not going to use the mushroom compost. I'm just going to use the cow manure. It's amazing though how dry it is. I know we had a drought last year, but when I dug into that compost heap before, steam's come out, lots of moisture because it's cow muck, dry as a bone. So it's taken me a little bit longer. But now I'm going to go and get the tulips. So I'm planting these really close together because these are just a 1 year crop. If you were naturalising them, putting them in a flower bed, you would space them out a bit more to make them look natural and also give them space to reproduce over the years. However, these will literally all be pulled out later in the season with the bulb, and then I'll put new ones in next year. So I'm packing them in. I'm also, you can see I'm not putting them right close to the edge because what I don't want them to do is to sprout, and for that then sprout to go up underneath the tyre and get stuck. So I've left a bit of an edge so that they can grow hopefully without getting stuck underneath the edge of the tyre. And you'll also notice there's quite a bit of mould on some of them, and that is completely my fault. I didn't get around to putting them out. They've been in that sack all close together in a box in a humid barn. But last year I did exactly the same, and I took all the mouldy ones out and I threw them in the grass, and guess what? They grew and they flowered. So this year, as they were only 3p each, I am bunging them all in together and we will just see what happens. Well, we're all done. They are all in. And the winter weather is here to drench me, but I must get these done today. We've got a cold snap coming next week, which will be perfect for the tulips. If it gets too late, they will grow and they will leaf, but then they may not flower. So I'm going to get these guys covered. Well, we're all done. They are filled. I'm not going to stamp on them to squash this down because I don't want the tulip bulbs to the growing tips to get broken off. I also don't want to move their positions. So nature and rain will naturally sink that down, and then next year I'll probably just have to top it up. Talking of topping it up, it's exactly what I had to do to the daffodil beds this year, which are over here. And all I did was just come in with waste from the barn after lambing, so you can see there's lots of sheep poos in here, but it's well broken down, and I just topped them up. I haven't weeded this one out. That one over there is weeded out. I wonder if we can zoom in. You can see it's a bit cleaner. This one, not. But also, look, tulips. So last year, I did put in a tiny number of tulips, but they didn't get enough water. The stems were really short, so I never harvested any of them, and I just didn't bother pulling the bulbs out. So it'll be interesting to see this year, in their second year, actually how they do. Maybe I'll cut the flowers this year from them and then leave them in again and see what happens next year. But now I'm going to go indoors and have a shower and a cup of tea to get nice and dry and warm. But if you want to know more about our growing here at Brunwood Farm, then take a look at this video with our starting a CSA for 2023.